Did you know Rough Country offers a large variety of ATV accessories with a catalog that's getting bigger and bigger every day?
If you didn't know that, now you do. No matter what brand UTV you ride, Rough Country has accessories and upgrades that make it even more ready for work and play. Take this 2021 Polaris Ranger 1000 for instance. We're about to go off on it, and we're not going to break the bank either. This Ranger is getting front bumper wings with lighting, a new rear bumper with lighting, a cargo rack, a roof, front and rear windshields, a Rough Country 4,500 pound winch and winch plate, our side mount spare tire carrier, and of course, we're going to lift it up, upgrade the factory springs, and widen out the stance a bit by adding wheel spacers too.
This UTV is getting the full Rough Country treatment. We're going to make it more capable, more comfortable, and more cool. Yep. Out my head. Let's get in the shop and I'll show you what we have in mind. All right, we are ready to go with the UTV. We're going to start from the ground up. We're going to add Rough Country's 3-inch lift kit and progressive rate springs. Now the springs aren't required for the kit, but they're going to help us stabilize and get rid of a lot of body roll and make the ride just that much better. And we've got them, so we definitely want to use them. So the 3-inch lift kit consists of preload spacers for the front, and for the front and rear, we've got relocation brackets, as well as replacement sway bar links and the accommodating hardware. And these are the Rough Country progressive rate springs. Again, they're going to give you a more sporty ride, reduced body roll overall on the UTV. Your rears are going to be a little bit longer than your front, so if you happen to get them mixed up, don't worry about that. They're nice and beefy. They've got a very durable powder coat on them, and they're really going to help us with the lift as far as making the vehicle more agile and making you more confident when you go over obstacles. All right, that's what we're going to start with. Let me get the Ranger up on the lift, take the wheels and tires off, and get to getting the lift on. Now once the lift's on, before we replace the factory wheels and tires, we're actually going to add the Rough Country 1.5-inch wheel spacers. That's going to bring that track width out and further stabilize the vehicle, which is really important. Once you come up, you really need to go out, so you stabilize the vehicle. And now that I've got it out so you can see it, the lift kit preload spacer is going to sit on this lower pedestal, and then our progressive rate spring will replace this factory coil. To remove the spring, we actually need to run over to R&D. They've got a wall-mounted strut compressor. We're going to compress the spring, remove this retainer, drop in our preload spacer, put on our progressive coil, compress the coil, and reinstall the retainer. All right, now I'll repeat that process on the passenger side, and then we'll take the struts, get the springs compressed, removed. I'll show you how to install the preload spacer for the front lift, and then we will install the progressive rate Rough Country springs on both struts. All right, so I've got the strut set up in this wall-mounted compressor. You can use a standard spring compressor, and most auto parts stores will loan that to you. So this is something you could do at the house, but I'm going to compress the spring, remove this retainer. I'm going to remove it out, show you how to put the preload spacer on, and then we'll put the progressive rate coil back in, compress that, and put the retainer back in. All right, with the factory spring off, we'll take the Rough Country preload spacer, put it in place, and now I'll get one of the progressive rate springs, set it up in the compressor, and installation is reverse of removal. We don't have to add the preload spacers to the rear, so we'll get this knocked out and get back over to the installation facilities. We're back from R&D. We've got our progressive rate coil and our preload spacer installed on our factory strut. I've already got the passenger side set in place. We'll go ahead and install the driver's side. You can watch me do that, and then we'll move on to the back. With the rear links installed, that completes the installation of the 3-inch lift with progressive coils on this Ranger. Now the coils aren't part of the lift. They don't give you any lift at all. What they do is stabilize the ride. And when you go higher, you want to be stable so you lose a little body roll. Speaking of stabilizing the ride, now that we have the lift installed, we're going to put those 1.5-inch spacers to widen our stance and stabilize it that much further. So this is the 1.5-inch wheel spacer for the Ranger by Rough Country. It's a billet aluminum spacer. It comes with hardware to secure the spacer to the hub. Then you're going to use your factory lugs or whatever lugs you have with your aftermarket wheel to secure the wheel to the spacer. We've completed the install of the 3-inch lift with the addition of the progressive rate coils. We've added the 1.5-inch wheel spacers, and we've got the factory wheels and tires remounted. Now, if that's all we were going to do, it'd be time to drop it down and have a look at it. But we're doing several things. Next on the list is going to be our winch plate and winch, as well as our front bumper wings with the LED lighting. So before I drop it on the ground, I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity while all the bolts are nice and within reach to pull this front bumper off in anticipation of adding the winch plate and the winch. This is a Rough Country winch plate. We'll mount the winch to it before we actually install, but I just wanted to show you how it drops on. Lines up with these 2 factory threaded holes and these 2 factory holes that we will put nuts behind when we bolt it on. We've got our Rough Country 4,500-pound synthetic rope winch here, and what we're going to do is go ahead and mount it to the winch plate. Now the winch plate mounts vertically, so we're going to mount the winch accordingly, and then we will route the rope out, and there's a factory fair lead location, and we've got a fair lead that we'll add to the factory bumper once we get all that installed. So first things first, I'm going to roll the winch over, line up my holes on the plate, and bolt it to the plate. Tighten down this last factory bumper bolt, then we'll be ready to add the Rough Country bumper wing with LED option. This is the Rough Country Polaris bumper wing with slimline 6-inch LED setup. These wings are actually going to mount over this bar on the factory bumper and allow us to add the 6-inch slimline LED and just add to the overall styling of the UTV. And you can see how nice the slimline 6-inch LED looks in the bumper wing. That's going to provide plenty of additional lighting on the trail, and it's going to make the UTV look great. Now that we've got the factory bumper trimmed and painted to prevent rust, we'll go ahead and dry fit the wing so I can mark the mounting locations on this factory plate. All it takes to install the Polaris bumper wings with slimline 6-inch LED. To complement that, we're going to add the Polaris rear bumper by Rough Country that just so happens to also have 6-inch LEDs, so you can see where you're going when you reverse. mounts installed, I went ahead and set the bumper itself on a couple of jack stands to get it in about the location it needs to be so I can start bolting the bumper to the brackets. The bumper is fully installed onto the brackets. Now all that's left is to install the slimline 6-inch LEDs on both sides and get those wired in. Man, that rear bumper really set the back of this Ranger off. Completely changed the look. I'm glad we put it on there, but we are far from over. Let's get it off the lift, get it repositioned, and keep adding accessories. All right, we've gotten the Ranger off the lift and over here to our work area. Now we're going to focus on the comfort accessories that Rough Country offers. We're going to look at the windshields. Rough Country currently has 3 different windshields for this particular model. We offer a half windshield if you want to keep that open air experience but minimize debris being thrown up at you from the tires. That's the way to go. If you want to be fully encapsulated, we offer a full windshield, which is there's really nothing more to say. If you're looking for full protection, we offer a full windshield for this model, and currently we're the only company that offers a vented windshield for the Ranger. The vented windshield is kind of the best of both worlds. You've got a full windshield, full protection, but you can kick the vents open at the bottom and let the breeze flow through. That's my choice, and that's what we're going to install right now. Let me get it unpacked. To make the weather strip easier to install, use a 1/4-inch ratchet extension or something about that size. An Allen wrench is fine. And stick it in the channel and run it the length of the weather strip, just to open the channel up. Now we're going to install our weather strip. We're going to start in the center at the bottom. That's where we want our seam to be. So we're just going to line that up and work our way all the way around and meet back up at this location. I've taken a dead blow hammer and just went around and made sure that everything was nice and seated, and it looks great. So Rough Country, we cut all of our UTV windshields here in our New Bern, Tennessee facility. Each windshield is made out of a thick, scratch-resistant polycarbonate. If your UTV doesn't have a windshield, then you're really missing out. The windshields are going to protect you from debris and the elements and make enjoying the vehicle that much better. We're proud to offer you this American-made option for a UTV windshield. It's going to keep you on the trail longer, protecting you from debris and any element that Mother Nature may throw at you. Now you're protected from the elements, and you can pop open the vents and aim them any direction you want to. Make sure you got plenty of airflow in the cab. With the installation of the vented windshield, we're protected from the front, but if you're doing it right, it's going to be coming at you from all sides. Let's keep this cavalcade of crystal clear encapsulation going and install a rear windshield as well. Set the rear windshield in place and get it cinched down with the knobs. We'll position it and make sure that our lower brackets make it over our rail, and it should drop right into place. Excellent. That's all there is to installing the rear windshield on the Ranger. How do we top that? How about a roof? Seems like the logical choice. Let's install a roof. Here we have the one-piece injected molded roof for the Polaris Ranger. We're going to go ahead and drop it on. It mounts in factory locations. I do have to drill one hole, so we'll go ahead, get it on the roof, get the factory locations lined up, mark where I need to draw my hole, center punch that, drill it, and install the roof. All right, so I'm going to drop it in place initially, line up the holes, and mark my center hole. Boy, that fits nice with that windshield. All right, with the center hole marked, I'm going to move the roof up and out of the way, drill that out, and we will install the roof. All right, we've got the rough country roof set in place and bolted up. It's good to go. I've got one more accessory, one that's going to almost double the cargo capacity of this UTV. Let's get the rough country cargo rack. The last bracket to install are going to be these upper brackets. They mount to the cargo basket here and are going to connect to the UTV structure where the mesh door mounts. Putting this up in place is really a two-person job. Let me get another person, I'll be right back. Bring it up. If you'll just hold there, let me... An often overlooked item that I would consider an essential piece of recovery gear for a UTV is going to be the addition of a spare tire. If you have a catastrophic tire failure out on the trail, no plug kit or air compressor is going to get you home. But if you have the ability to bring a spare tire with you, you could be up and running in no time. You could just throw a spare tire in the cargo area, take up some of that cargo space, and just have it bounce around while you're on the trail. But we're looking for a more purpose-built solution, and we have it with the Rough Country bedside spare tire mount. All that's left now is to secure the wheel to the mount with the lug nuts. The Rough Country bedside tire mount will meet your needs with room to spare. For the build-up of this 2021 Polaris Ranger, we gave it the full Rough Country treatment. Starting from the bottom, we added Rough Country's 3-inch lift kit. To stabilize the unit further, we added our progressive rate coil springs. Widening the stance, we used our 1.5-inch wheel spacers, further stabilizing the unit as a whole. We've installed our winch plate and 4,500-pound winch with synthetic rope. Accompanying that are our bumper wings that mount directly to the factory Polaris front bumper, giving it style, giving it clearance, and adding a lighting option with a slimline 6-inch LED. Complementing the front bumper is the Rough Country rear bumper for the Polaris, which coincidentally also comes with a slimline 6-inch LED. To add to our comfort level, we went with Rough Country's vented front windshield, which is going to give us complete coverage but allow for airflow. We also added Rough Country's rear windshield for the Polaris and topped it off with the one-piece Rough Country roof. We nearly doubled the cargo space and tripled the good looks of the Polaris by adding Rough Country's cargo rack, which is going to allow for plenty of storage up high and out of the way and additional lighting as well. Finally, to take care of our spare tire needs, we added Rough Country's bedside spare tire mount. This is going to allow us to carry the spare with us and not have to worry about strapping it down or having it bounce around in the cargo bed. All these accessories add to the UTV's overall comfort, capability, and cool factor. If you're looking for UTV accessories, no matter what brand UTV you may have, there's only one name you need to remember. Check us out at roughcountry.com.